Hello, Growth Scouts, and welcome back to Scouting for Growth, the show where we dive deep with the builders, transformers, and innovation architects, redefining what is possible at the intersection of tech and enterprise. Today's episode is about tuning or turning AI from buzzword to business asset and what it really takes to industrialize a deep tech solution inside a regulated insurance environment. We are unpacking the story behind CamCom's AI-powered visual inspection platform, technology that is transforming how insurers detect, assess, and price physical damage in real time from vehicles to property portfolios. With me are two leaders who represent the future of enterprise scale innovation, actually. One scaling advanced AI across markets, the other making sure it actually lands inside the operations of a major international corporation. First up, Geetha Sham, Managing Director and President of CamCom in Europe. She's a seasoned technologist and scale-up strategist who has held senior roles at Oracle, Wipro, and Mindtree, and is now building out CamCom's European footprint from Düsseldorf. Geetha's team is using cameras, computer vision, and machine learning to spot the micro defects that hold up millions in claims and turning inspection into a seamless automated workflow. And alongside her is Sathes Singam, Innovation Scout and Program Manager at ERGO Group. You probably have listened to some of my conversation with Sathes during big conferences, potentially. Sathes is the linchpin behind ERGO's deployment of CamCom across the Baltics, the insurer's first European testbed for this solution. He's not just steering pilots, actually. He's translating compliance with enablement, aligning product and IT, and building a blueprint for how large corporations like the ERGO Group 80, a Munich Re company, can scale startups' collaboration with speed, structure, and impact. So, we will explore how ERGO's venture client model turned a promising pilot into a production-grade capability. Then we will investigate what it really takes to deploy AI in regulated multi-market environments, and then how governance, if used right, can become a growth accelerator, not a roadblock. So whether you are a startup founder trying to break into enterprises, right, an insurer looking to de-risk innovation, or a transformation leader tired of AI theater, this episode is for you. Let's get into it by welcoming Geetha and Sathes to the show. Hi, Geetha. Hi, Sathes. Thank you so much for joining me on Scouting for Growth today.
Hello, Sabine. Hello, Sathes. Lovely to meet you both once again.
Hi. Same to you. Looking forward to discuss in this podcast.
Yes, and I'm so honored to have you both, as we are going to dive into really learning about who is CamCom and how CamCom is scaling with ERGO Scale Hub in Düsseldorf. So I'm going to start with you, Geetha, right? Please take us back to the beginning, right? What personal or market insights sparked the creation of CamCom? And how did you know the time was right for AI-powered visual inspection?
Well, that's a very interesting question. This is to go back in history. It was the year 2018 that CamCom started to work on building a vision tech stack for a very generic product discovery. The stuff which you see on the Amazon app, where you can use a camera to take a picture of a product and search it in the catalog. Okay, so that's how we started. A chance meeting with an investor brought up this idea of extending the same stack to assess the damages for an insurance company. And that's when we got in touch with the India's second largest insurance company at that point of time. And they were incidentally looking for a potential AI partner. So it is this convergence that uh, brought up the CamCom automotive inspection platform that we built with the help of a small training data set of images which we got from them in the year 2018 for claims. And here we are very soon capturing the whole lot of images all over India, all over the world, real time. And that has started a pipeline of continuous learning for our model. Today, we have over 300 million plus images, and we have one of the finest AI models for automotive damage assessment globally. So that's where we started and where we are today.
Wow, 30, 30.
That's
So from
a
3, 30, no, 30, 30 million
yes.
imaging that you can actually leverage to actually assess damage and identify what is right and what is wrong. So what
Absolutely.
quality inspection gap you are trying to address with CamCom? What sets out to solve one of the biggest problem we have, right? In our industry, insurance, where the claims costs are very high, particularly motor claims.
During the initial discussions with our first insurance customer, we very soon realized that the process of inspection was very time consuming, very human heavy, subjected to human fatigue, resulting in very expensive long cycles and a lot of inconsistency. This is the gap we sought to fill using the AI model, which provided a machine vision eye using the mobile device, accurately capturing the images of the vehicle, which eventually lead to the damage assessment piece. From the beginning, the platform which we have built it in such a way that every image could be uploaded, leading to a consistent way of capturing it, and making sure the amount of false positives are actually reduced. Now with the newer platform which we have, this is much more sleeker, much more user friendly, more of a web app to capture the images in a very consistent way. So that for this we have allied the information that leads to the assessing of the damage much more accurately, and thereby bringing value to the insurance industry as such.
So, I want to actually give back a little bit of background about you, Geetha, because, we are talking about CamCom, but it's always good to understand where you are coming from. So you have led enterprise transformation in big companies. I heard, Oracle, Wipro, Mindtree. So what is one of the key lessons you have learned over the years that now defines what you do today to scale CamCom into a scale up that is respected by big companies across the world?
Working across large companies in a global platform, one of the things which was common and very evident is, which you would agree, any large enterprises focus a lot on compliance because that's extremely important. Be it the local laws, the data privacy like the GDPR, DORA, or any other legal and commercial compliances. I personally believe that that is one experience of mine which is the most important for us when we are dealing with highly regulated industry like insurance. Okay, so you would also have seen it as our rigorous approach to make sure compliance in every interactions which we have. And I guess that's what has actually set us apart in many, many ways.
That is amazing, Geetha. And so I'm going to go to Sathes now. And so ask Sathes, what was your first impression, right? When you met Geetha, when you met the CamCom team, and then started playing with the technology, what made you believe that you could build something, right? First a pilot, and then consider CamCom as a strategic asset for ERGO Group, ERGO Baltics, for the Scale Hub. Tell us more.
So, CamCom is very superior when it comes to its technology. as they are working in different sectors, no matter it's automotive, OEM sector, the insurance sector, of course, governance with capturing all the damaged streets on the road. So, as Geetha already mentioned, they have a big data of 30 million pictures, which they have trained their model. So it makes superior when we have compared with other solutions on the market. And of course, our aim is to scale internationally, to reuse the technology and solution, and therefore leveraging synergies with our international entities is crucial. So and that's where HTC Ergo comes into this play. So CamCom and HTC Ergo has a successful collaboration, made a successful collaboration with for over 5 years, I think, Geetha. Please correct me if I'm wrong. And so the question is then, can this technology, which we have made in India, can be scaled into different markets and into different use cases? So major success factors are the team strength, the expertise within CamCom, and the technology excel that has been already challenged by our Ergo internal experts and which has been approved. So last but not least, willingness to support from a CamCom viewpoint is in implementing this solution that makes something valuable for us as a business entity and customer. And that's why we decided it's more an interesting pilot. It has become a strategic asset for us. And that's why our senior executives have decided that CamCom has to become a strategic partner for us as ERGO Group.
Which is fascinating, right? You have actually mentioned CamCom as a strategic asset for the ERGO Group. So, when you start looking at our industry, Sathes, what's your view on how insurers should approach startup collaboration, especially when it's involved deep tech? Because Geetha, right, and the platform CamCom brings to our industry is within the deep tech space, not insurtech, right? Deep tech, and deep tech going into insurance. So tell us.
Yeah, so it's a good question. So basically, startup collaborations, that's my experience, should become a top management agenda, like Ergo is handling it. Like Mark Klein, our chief digital officer, is strongly pushing the startup collaboration. So this helps us with this management power to push innovative solutions faster into operations. Also, it's important to involve all relevant stakeholders, like the AI experts who have the deep technology, who can judge if it's a good solution or not. And last but not least, business departments. It's crucial to involve them as well because they have got the domain expertise, what they have and what they actually need. So basically, compare different solutions, organize demos, try it out for yourself if it suits to your needs, and implement it. And keep in mind that also governance requirements need to be fulfilled somehow. At the end, startup collaborations should become solutions to unusual issues, no matter if they are already existing or they may exist in the future, of course.
So let's go into understanding how to deploy artificial intelligence cross-border. I mean, Sathes, we've been together during conferences, right? And one of the big themes that often comes during those discussions is how do we deploy artificial intelligence cross-border? So Geetha, walk us through a real CamCom case study, right? Because we started in India, we are talking about Ergo Düsseldorf, we are talking about Ergo Baltics. And so how do you ensure, from the moment you interact with a customer, really understand the initiative and then look at how to deploy the visual inspection capabilities you have? How do you make sure that the data is right? And how do you make sure that you're actually implementing this solution to help the leaders within that business make the right decisions?
Okay, that's a really long response which I can offer, but I'll try to keep it simple and concise. Most of the customers use our AI camera tool, which we have trademarked as Trinetra. It's a tool which captures the images of the vehicle. That is the first step for us. This tool has an AI on edge, which means the mobile phone, which validates the number of things, like, for example, the image resolution, the size of the vehicle, GPS, date time, the wind capture, and other many such items. Once this process is complete, along with the close-ups and other document captures which are required, these images are uploaded very securely on our server. In this case, for ERGO or for any European countries, we have our AWS, which we have procured in Ireland. That makes us completely GDPR compliant. Once the images are received on our server, we strip them of any PII data and then go on to identify the make and model of the vehicle. And once we have that, we read the VIN and decode the ODO and the TACO reading. After this, the damage assessment happens based on the images which are there on the system. Correlation of these damages from more than one angle happens so that we can make sure it is the same damage and it's not a false positive. Finally, we have an algorithm which will further go on to reduce any FPs which come in the way. So that would be the most shortest and summarized deployment which I can probably explain at this point of time.
Well, I'm so grateful and thank you very much for explaining because there's a lot of hyping going on here, right? And I think when we talked in the past, Geetha, you mentioned the platform is hardware agnostic and estimation engine are agnostic as well. I think it's important for people to understand why that flexibility you provide is non-negotiable in today's marketplace.
Well, in CamCom is an AI company. That is our core competency, which is Vision AI, and we pride ourselves in the same. However, the damage assessment part can be integrated with variety of cost estimation data engines which are out in the world because each company, each region, each country have their own requirements and it also changes almost on a regular basis. Apart from this, we want to democratize the image capture, and hence we have built our Trinetra as a product in such a way that it can operate on any type of or any variety of mobile devices, right starting from the year 2016. That makes us a leader in our own area, staying focused without getting disintegrated and scattered in the name of trying to do everything ourselves.
That's fascinating. So, Sathes, let's just go back to ERGO, right? And when we think about the team in ERGO Baltics, I think that was the first region to pilot CamCom after, the implementation in India. So what did it take to align internal teams, the product team, the IT team, the legal team, the procurement team, right? It's all about governance and compliance to ensure that we reduce complexity and focus on the rollout of the platform.
Yeah, so basically the first step when you are starting with a new project like this is to have a common understanding what you exactly need and so basically business owners and how to solve it. So here comes especially our local project manager, Christina Osolina, into the game. So she was coordinating the tests locally, bringing all the people together. So she did an amazing job in doing this. So I would like to thank her in this moment, definitely. And it's crucial. What I want to say is it's crucial to have someone locally to know the culture in that particular countries and know the people who needs to address. This is crucial for having a successful go live or planning. The biggest push was when we did a 2 days kickoff meeting with all relevant stakeholders from business, from IT, with Geetha, with other people from CamCom and with from ERGO Group to understand to sitting together, understand what they actually need and to have workshops to figure it out what should be done when, what will be the next steps. So from this point of view, it took us approximately so in total, it took us 1 year, I would say, sir. From the first time we did a pilot until now, when we launched the solution. And yes, you have to keep in mind also, it's the first time we are jointly working on a startup collaboration jointly with the ERGO Group and a local entity. And that's why it took maybe a little bit longer than the startup collaborations which normally take to launch.
And I understand that, Sathes, because we are dealing with internationalization, right? We have to really understand the regulation, and Geetha and the team at CamCom are really good at understanding compliance, information security, information compliance, and privacy. But then we have to adapt to a new market, a new region, and a new language as well, right? We have to actually adapt ourselves to new people, new language, new team, new infrastructure. So that takes some time. So Sathes, you have co-created the UX and the UI with the CamCom team, which is amazing. So what are some of the lessons learned that you can share with us today?
So basically, transparent communication is key success for successful collaboration. No matter if you're having transparent communication physically there in person or in meetings, that's key. So what we have done is, as you have said, we are thinking about rolling out CamCom in more and more countries. We involved other ERGO entities who have their own their own experience, putting all the knowledge together with which CamCom was able to provide or create a user interface which fits to ERGO Group needs. So in a general, we approach, let's say, some more agile approach where we set meetings where the local experts shared their requirements and CamCom was presenting their latest implementation. So it was a back and forth. And CamCom did an amazing job, of course. They created rapid implementations and provide us valuable feedback from their previous experiments they made with such rollouts with other clients. And so was amazing job what CamCom, so Geetha and her team did.
Yes, I'm like impressed by, what I heard, also interacting with Geetha. I mean, seeing the platform, really impressive. So one things which I think I would like to ask you, both of you, starting with Geetha, is a question I get all the time, if you don't mind. Is around data sovereignty, bias, ethical AI. And I think it's an important question for us just to dive into Geetha and Sathes, because all organizations implementing artificial intelligence are asking those questions today. When we often talk about data sovereignty, bias, and ethical artificial intelligence, a lot of organizations out there are trying to really understand how to implement artificial intelligence in the right way. So when we think about CamCom, what checks are in place to ensure that the AI does just work in the way it should work, right? Across normal cases as well as edge cases.
Well, I will not say that the companies may not be familiar with AI, because I have been seeing that every other company does talk about AI and ML. The definition and the requirement might vary, but nevertheless, I think there is a global adoption to the new age technology, because every industry is seeing a value add in it. So the standard way of implementing it is very simple. That is, it has to be aligned with the businesses, and it should not hamper the existing business or the processes which are existing within the industry or within the groups. There will always be edge cases, and these edge cases have to be addressed in a much more different way. And when I say different way, what I mean by that is that you have a standard reinforcement type of a training on the model, which is not controlled. It is using the neural networks. But then a couple of changes have to be modified and not be something which is completely controlled by the standard type of a feedback learning, which is more from the industry point of view or a business point of view. If I have to give you the smallest example, the model may say that there is a particular small damage on a part of a particular vehicle. And the model can, over a period of time, learn and say that if this was something missed, then it has to capture it. Nevertheless, let us look at a second scenario where, from the business point of view, that small damage was actually not relevant from the entire ecosystem which was existing. Under which circumstance, although it is there, there is a threshold cutoff, and hence these are the edge cases which have to be handled a little more sensitively based on the business requirements.
So helpful. I mean, Sathes, I know, ERGO Group is an amazing and global business, but locating in Germany where, compliance, legal requirements around third-party AI tools is very strong, right? Like any EU organization. So how do we address those concerns when you think about the ERGO Group?
Yeah, so as you have said, the insurance sector is one of the most regulated industries we are having. So we are regulated on the one hand by the European Union, in Germany by the BaFin. And so it's, again, as I mentioned, it's all about involving all relevant stakeholders and a clear and transparent communication. I was somehow translating business requirements into the compliance machine, and also have coordinated and provided the answer to have successfully fulfill all the government requirements. And as our plan is to scale CamCom internationally, we tried out to streamline the governance requirements from a group perspective. On the one hand, we have to be more work efficient with the limited local resources we have, but act as a global company more efficient with our resources. But on the other hand, we have to also reduce the overburdens of CamCom so that they can focus on the product or product innovation, which helps us in the future to become better than we are currently. So that's crucial to, somehow as a thing from a group perspective, how can I make it easier for us for future rollouts?
Yes, there's no doubt here. So I would like to move into the pilot to production. How do we get into the Ergo scale up? And coming to you, Geetha, my question is, what drew CamCom to the Ergo scale up in Düsseldorf, Germany? How the venture client model work for you, as, we're moving away from that vendor corporate relation. I call it corporate startup engagement, but the venture client aims to make it easier for organizations like yourself. So what drew you to Ergo?
Our engagement with ERGO brought us to Düsseldorf. We soon realized that we have a lot to learn from them, and especially if we have to grow in the European market, the type of insurance and the compliance and the regulations which come along with that are far, far more different from many other markets. So this was the driver for us to sign up with the Scale Hub. Unlike a traditional vendor relationships where it is much more transactional in nature, we have very little scope for learning and innovating. Nevertheless, with Ergo Scale Hub, with the acceleration of relationship, it is more tuned towards mutual benefit via learning and innovation. This makes us not only a market leader, but also walk the journey with a deep domain expertise which Ergo themselves bring out in the market. So I think that has been the main driver for us.
Which is great, right? Because when you think about Düsseldorf, and a lot of people don't realize, quality of life is there. Sathes has actually shared his list of the best restaurants around Düsseldorf with me. We have had, amazing time when I visit the ERGO Group in Düsseldorf. But I believe, you have access to the team, you have access to the tech hub, K67, and also the team will help with regulation, understanding, localization, and also access to other potential clients. So Sathes, coming back to you, can you take us inside ERGO Baltics, and the deployment? What was the original business case? If you can share a few things with us, how long did it take to move to MVP to production? Because I know, right, we had the language constraint. We had to bring a company from outside, the group, not even to Germany where you have HQ, but to the Baltics, right? What was the impact you were seeking to drive within your team in the Baltics, Sathes?
So, we are talking about the full go live of the mini viable product in 3 countries with 2 products at the same time. So this makes definitely a very complex rollout, let's say. So we have got 3 countries means different processes, of course. And this year we made a big leap forward, as highlighted, due to product setup and the commitment of everyone involved to have a successful rollout, no matter if it's ERGO or CamCom. So just make it tangible for you. In Germany, for example, if I'm the car, so I'm got a car, and if I would like to change my insurance company, I'd have to just sign a contract. That's it. In countries like Baltics and of course in India, it's a different scenario. You have to go through a pre-check of your already existing damages on cars, for example. So you have to involve an auditor or set up a meeting with an ERGO employee to make photos, to have an assessment of where damages are existing. So why don't we enable customers to create their own photos, no matter when they want, so they can do it on a Saturday, Sunday, or late night? So this provides the customer better experience, and with our insurance product, better onboarding experience. And of course, it free up time of ERGO employees to help the customer better, but also to generate more sales because they can focus more on the core business. So just to highlight, this is one of the major impacts in the Baltics.
That is, this is crucial. You all mentioned the customer, right? Customer experience. At the end of the day, customer get insurance and their goal is if something happens, they have the safety of the brand, the safety of, being able to go through claims easier. And then, the tools that you're providing with CamCom to actually make the right, pictures, enable them to actually give you the information you need to accelerate the process of delivering, settling, repairing the vehicle as you feel required. So what advice would you give to other regional teams within the ERGO Group, right? We've done amazing work with CamCom in the Baltics, but ERGO is an international group, right? What would you say to other teams looking to leverage amazing solution like the CamCom platform?
So governance should never be a roadblock, either lack of time or lack of knowledge. You have to see governance not as an enemy, more a friend who will helping you reduce risk. So for our ERGO international entities, we are with our venture client unit, we're happy to help you. With over 80 startup collaborations in the last year, we made great experience. And of course, as we are more a multinational company with different local regulations, we need, of course, the support of the local colleagues, definitely. But this should never be a roadblock. Until now, we've never experienced failing a project just due to governance topics. As we always have the right people in place who will give us the right guidance, and there's always someone in your organization who's happy to help you to tackle it with joint forces.
And so my other side of the question actually, Sat, is when we start looking at governance as a competitive advantage, right? As you said, we don't have a choice. We are in a financial services, highly regulated industry. So when you start looking at the team, right, leadership and people, right, culture, what internal mindset shift do you take for your team to treat governance as competitive advantage, like no friction competitive advantage capability?
So the question is, can I be a part of the solution, or become or become part of the issue? So the question is, how can we see governance more as a friend? And where we as with our venture client unit come into place. So we are already supporting our business units to have frictionless experience, to fulfill all the government topics. And we do support as the governance owners and become more efficient from a user experience or user perspective, and simplify the entire experience in the two, also enhance, improve the onboarding process if you are searching for a new solution or a new startup solution.
So Geetha, what are you doing at CamCom to design for governance, right? Designing for governance when we're actually dealing with financial services institution from the outset. So before even you talk to them, you are already prepared for meeting the compliance requirement. What does it take to achieve that, right? To have a product roadmap which aligns for highly regulated industries?
Governance becomes a very, very important parameter as we function with a very, very highly regulated type of an industry, uh, and it is much more complex than what we really see it from the outside world, because these regulations are not only country specific, but they are also business specific. Okay, so it might be the same insurance company, but it varies country to country, it varies company to company, because some of the regulations which might be acceptable for a insurance company may not be acceptable to a B insurance company. And when we have such an environment, and let us look at ERGO itself. Although ERGO is a large company and has a single umbrella, when you look at the Baltic one, which we are trying to roll out, each of the country have a local law. So there is not only customization, there is also localization which has to be addressed. And that is exactly where the governance model comes in very handy, because you have some requirements which the law of the land demands, and then you have some requirement which are actually fueled by the regulatory of that particular industry for that country, and then you have an overarching regulation which is more at the ergo level, right? So governance is something which can help us make sure that be it at the tactical level, where you have the tech team talking to each other, to the next level where it is the data transaction which is happening, to the third tier where it is more of all the rules and regulations related to data are being abided, have to be aligned and completely in sync with each other. And governance is the only method which will help us to make sure that we are addressing the requirements, that is, the regulatory requirements at different tiers, and all the requirements are getting ticked so that there are zero gaps. Because we may do a fabulous job of identifying the damages, of giving accurate results. But if the compliance is not met, and if the governance model is not in place, thereby giving transparency to all the multiple layers, the entire thing is going to fizzle out very quickly.
Yeah, now I can see that. So I would like to move to maybe a little bit more fun conversation about trends and future readiness. And Geetha, I have to start with you because you are our innovator on the call. So think about EV adoption, climate, driven damages, right? With all these, fire and climate issues we are experiencing at the moment. Or mobile first workflows. What are the top three macro forces do you think that are reshaping what CamCom offers every day?
I do agree that these top three macro forces are real and happening across the globe. And to me, one of the macro forces which is impacting is with the changes in the automotive market, with like the advent of EVs, electric vehicles, cost pressures are natural. That is, do more for less, and efficiency, which is the force behind the mobile first workflows. I would like to repeat that the automotive industry is on a verge of a huge transformation, especially with EVs. And with transformation comes pressures, as well as the need for efficient processes right from the component level, that is the OEM, to the aftermarket. We can see a lot happening around us, especially with the low EV flooding the market from the east, which you all would have seen in European countries, especially in Germany, to the insane amount of capital being poured into the local EV market. Uh, it is a cusp, and it is extremely interesting, as well as the need to be very agile at this stage, uh, because transformation is something which can be very exciting as well as scary at the same time.
Absolutely. So do you think the biggest R&D and ecosystem investment opportunity for us is EV adoption, or do you have other recommendation for us Europeans? What should we look for over the next 3 years?
Um, EV advent, or change in this style of automobiles, which have been happening for centuries, is going to be the reality, and it is going to constantly keep happening. So we have EV today, maybe tomorrow it will be something else, and we started with carriages many centuries ago. But one of the places which can probably make a huge difference would be investment in LVMs, that is, vision large models, which we have. And this vision languages models, where the convergence of number of disparate models uh, will amalgamate into a pre-trained model, providing more efficient agentic AI workflows to solve real world problems. And that will be something which we are going to focus for ourselves in Europe for scaling. Because as long as we are able to create our own agentic workflows and our own agentic models, not the one which are more globalized, that will be more specific to the industry, specific to a client requirement. Of course, a lot of capital investment is needed for go-to-market activities, which would happen anyways. Customer acquisition also is a very long cycle when it comes to European region, because of all the compliances which are there. So, long story short, we would be focusing on VLMs for ourselves in the long run.
Yeah, no, fascinating studies. From your local vantage points, where do you see future opportunities for visual inspection technology within the ERGO Group, right? Can we go beyond motor?
So whatever you could capture with your camera, with your smartphone camera, could be interesting. So nearly everyone has a smartphone nowadays. So for me, a property, gadget insurance, claims, as we are currently talking more about the pre-inspection robotics, just to give them some examples, could be interesting for us. And property is a super interesting use case. So in robotics, we will launch as a property use case. We have launched a property use case where you can create pictures of a property where you can, for example, see a sauna next to a property. It could be a potential risk, for example, just imagine in case of a fire. So with this, we can make sure that risks are calculated correct, and we can provide the customer with a feedback if he or she gets a proper insurance for his property.
Yes. And for you, Sathes, what does success look like in 3 years' time? A little bit like I ask to Geetha, when you think about ERGO, CamCom, partnership like this, for an enterprise like ERGO and a scale-up like CamCom?
So our aim is to solve concrete business challenges and customer demands. So we would like to have a substantial impact on existing real-world problems. So my ambition is definitely having rolled out CamCom's solution into more countries and use cases to make the processes more efficient and experience for the customers better and easier. And we would like definitely to grow together with CamCom. And of course, definitely we have to solve concrete business challenges. That's the rule number one.
Yeah, concrete business challenges. I love that. And again, your repetition of the fact that the customer is at the core of everything. So, what would you need to change within the ERGO Group level to replicate this success across other regions, Sathes?
So we are currently on the right path, to be honest, to leverage cross-border synergies, both on no matter if it's operational or executive level, where CamComs is one of those. And it would be the easiest one time if we have the same tech standard in all countries. But however, we are working in a multinational corporation or international corporation with different local regulations and processes. So therefore, communication on a high height is crucial, no matter if it's internet business, the business department or CamCom. And this is definitely crucial. Communication is key for everything.
Yeah. Keyword communication is key for everything. And Geetha, looking at your success over the years, right? You have built businesses, you have worked for corporations, so you actually understand that fine line as to how we work with big enterprise. What is one thing you see large corporations get wrong when they engage with scale-ups like CamCom, and what would be your recommendation for them to actually make sure that they scale in the right way with global tech ventures like yourself?
I wouldn't say they get it wrong. That would be a complete misnomer. I would say that perhaps they underestimate the agility and the ability of any tech startup to scale and to deliver. Uh, because it is a startup, there is always a little bit of a reservation. But I must say that not only CamCom, but I would say this for any tech startup, technology is ever evolving, and as days are passing, it's becoming that much more innovative and much more faster than what we saw many, many centuries ago. The agility is built in as a part of the bloodline stream for any startup. So that is something which is frequently undermined as we work with a large corporation.
And how do you keep innovation culture alive across border and hierarchies?
Well, that's a very, very hard question to answer. um, uh, this is more about humans. So let me give you a very different type of response from what probably anybody would have anticipated. We as human beings, we understand that our minds are inquisitive by nature. That's how we have been designed, and that's how we have evolved to be where we are today. And perhaps our minds are firewalled in many, many ways in our daily lives, both in professional life as well as personal life. Although we use the word firewall in IT technology, that's exactly how it is in our brains as well. It's very important that we free our minds and let our imagination fly. And it's very important that we are constantly listening to the clients and we are constantly engaging with the industry. And when I say industry, I mean our clients as we innovate something new, as well as get their thoughts and ideas, because that is going to have a huge potential for us to think out of the box and come up with ideations which will help us. I think basically this is freeing our mind is most important thing to keep the inquisitive culture and hence the innovation. And when I say freeing our mind, I mean to say we all are slaves of our own experiences, slaves of our own thoughts. Freeing means that we let our mind go loose and we listen to the youngsters because they come up with new ideas which are very, very thought provoking, as well as get the experience of the older generation, as well as get the business depth of the clients which are out there. An amalgamation of all these things and putting it all together, absorbing it, is what will keep the innovation alive, is what I think, and it will keep the fire burning in our heart and in our mind.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you, actually, that is, yeah.
Geetha said, we are all human beings. That's the most important thing we keep in mind, because we as a human being would discuss and operate on eye height level. So we want to be heard what we want. Our feedback should have to be important. And therefore, as I already mentioned a couple of times, it's all about transparency and trust-based communication. And this is what I can fully agree within our collaboration I'm doing on a daily business with Geetha and her team.
So, Geetha, my last question to you, if there is one myth you would love to bust, what would that be? When you think about artificial intelligence, maybe.
One myth would be that people think it is rocket science. It is not. It is nothing but we are trying to mimic the human body, which is your human brain, your human eye. Nothing more than that. It is as simple as that and as complex as that.
That's lovely. And you, Sathes, if you have one proudest moment you would like to share with us, what would that be?
For me, the thing what makes me more proudest is to work in a multicultural team with so many supportive people around me. No matter if it's group legal, local legal from the Baltics, group procurement, local procurement, or the people from the governance, IT colleagues, and the ambition I've seen in the faces of the local Baltic colleagues, and of course CamCom, that makes me proud. I'm on the daily day when I'm sitting in a meeting, I'm seeing the people who would like to improve the processes, make the appropriate solution for their customers and themselves, and that makes me proud. And of course, the support and the recognition we have received from the ERGO Group top management is something which makes me proud. And last but not least, the tremendous support I have received by CamCom, by Geetha and her team, the extra mile, they went to make sure that the solution fits to the ERGO needs. That makes me proud, and that's why I would like to thank you, Geetha, and your team for this support and this great collaborations.
I love hearing that because at the end of the day, venture client model, it's about the partnership first and collaboration. And so delivering really strong relationship, which are seamless. And like Bassem often say, if I give you a call at midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning, Geetha, I know you would respond back. So thank you to you both for joining me on Scouting for Growth. Geetha, if somebody wanted to get in touch with you, where should they go?
You said just drop an email to me or drop a message to me. I'm as simple as that. And not difficult at all.
That's wonderful. And Sathes, if people want to know more about Scale Hub, ERGO Scale Hub program, where should they go?
So go to scalehub.ergo.com. We have got 3 wonderful colleagues, Joanna, Vanessa, and Dennis, who will lead you through the process from application to scaling. And we have got a big team around us who are happy to help you if you are interested. Be part of this journey of this ERGO Scale Up program, of course.
That's wonderful. Geetha, Sathes, thank you again for joining me on Scouting for Growth.
Thank you.
you so much for giving us an opportunity. It was lovely speaking to you as always.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of Scouting for Growth. Please subscribe, share with friends, and leave a 5-star rating. Your rating is so valuable. I review all of them, and my team help me adapt content to meet your needs. Also, connect with me on my preferred channels. I am a B2B growth expert, so you will find me on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Threads, and X as well as Blue Sky. All information available below. Until next, keep scouting for growth.